Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Loot Table, where today we're going to be taking a look at the Secret Lair X Marvel Captain America drop that they released recently. These were really hard to come by, apparently, so yeah, I'm very, very glad that I got my hands on this. I'm a little bit perturbed because it's a little bit dinged up. The packaging that they sent it out in was literally just a very small envelope, and I don't know, that's kind of super annoying because they didn't let you choose the type of packaging that you wanted, just the speed at which your package would arrive. So I'm hoping that none of the cards inside are dinged up. I don't think they will be, but I think with a premium product like this, there should really be better packaging than just a bubble envelope. Something a little bit more solid would be probably better for that. This is the first Secret Lair I've ever bought, and honestly thought that it would be one of those little bit of a bigger package. I actually have one that they gave me at the Magic the Gathering event that I went to. The packaging of the one from the Magic the Gathering event came in something like this, which I think is a lot more secure. The Pride Across the Multiverse one is a lot more secure than this. And I'm not sure it's because I bought the non-foil version and not the foil version, but yeah, this is a lot better. So I'm not sure why this is like this, because it's dinged up, and I'm just not happy. It looks like it's been through the ringer, if I'm honest. So yeah, you're paying a premium price for these, and I expect a little bit more care put into it when they send these out. So yeah, let's get into it though. If you want to support us here at Commander Damage, make sure you check out Magic Madhouse. If you're looking for Magic the Gathering box products or singles, use this QR code on screen or head to the link in the description to make your purchases and support us here at Commander Damage. This way. There we go. Oh, look. I know who I am. I rescue the helpless. I raise up the hopeless. I don't measure people's lives. I save them. Oh, I think out of all of them, I wanted to get the Cap one because I had an interesting mechanic, and Cap is definitely my favorite. Thank you for being a part of Secret Lair. I've not seen this before. Oh, okay, cool. You just get a card that says thank you for being part of Secret Lair, and then it comes loose inside. All right, yeah, not a massive fan of the packaging for this, but you have Cap there. Let's get this open. So I managed to get the Secret Lair X Marvel Captain America, but I did have to wait in a queue for about 4 hours in order to get it, right? I had to wait in a queue for like 4 hours. There were problems with the queue. There were people jumping the queue. It was the worst experience that I've ever had, and I don't think I will be doing a Secret Lair experience ever again. The problem that I have with Secret Lairs is that it is not print to demand. It is limited time prints. I know it used to be print to demand, but apparently that took too long. But they seem to be going for this artificial scarcity model. So they're relying on fear of missing out in order to force everybody to try and get the Secret Lairs at the same time. Because once you miss it, and you have to buy it off the secondary market. The only problem with that is that really plays into the hands of scalpers who are going to buy up all the product, or as much as products as they're allowed to buy, and then just resell them at a stupidly high cost. Which, if you want to get access to a couple pieces of cardboard, you're then have to sit there in a queue for like 4 hours. You have to potentially take the day off work, or not even able to sit in the queue when it goes live, and so you have no chance of getting it. You know, not be able to go anywhere for that 4 hours, sitting in that queue, hoping to God that it's going to open up and you get the chance to get it. But there's no guarantee, even if you're in the queue, that you're going to get it, because as people were sitting in that queue, eventually it would just tell them, oh, this is sold out, this is sold out, this is sold out, this is sold out. And there is the problem of people being able to hack through the queue and skip the queue, which is a massive issue with the system that they're using. So I honestly, I hate it, and I don't think I'm going to be taking part in Secret Lair again. The only time that I would be for something like Final Fantasy, which I'm assuming is going to have a Secret Lair type of thing when that drops. Possibly. We'll see. Whether or not that'll be worth it at the time, but I don't want to be sitting in another queue for like 4 hours just to get a few pieces of cardboard for a stupid price, if I'm honest. The only reason I did it for Marvel stuff was because I was really interested in the way Captain America works. And the way he works is that he has a catch ability. So at the beginning of combat, you can attach any equipment you like for free on him. So say if you had something like Argentum Armor, which is a 6 mana cost equip, which gives a +6/+6. Say you want to do something Voltron-esque with Captain America, which is probably the approach that you want to go with this particular card as your commander. You're going to be able to attach that for free and miss paying that 6. And then you can use the throw ability, which costs 3 mana, to unattach that equipment and deal the damage equal to the equipment's mana value, so that'd be 6 mana as well for Argentum Armor, across any 3 targets, up to 3 targets. So you can choose 1, 2, or 3 targets. So that can be planeswalkers, that could be creatures, or it could be your opponent. For instance, I did a test run of a deck last night where I paired this specifically with Twin Flame Tyrant from the new Foundation set that I managed to pull from the pre-release. And that particular card doubles the damage that you would deal to... doubles any source of damage that you would deal to an opponent or a permanent that the opponent controls. So getting your +6/+6 on there, all of a sudden, instead of doing 6 damage for 3 mana, you're now doing like 12 damage for 3 mana. And that's really, really cool. I managed to do that a couple of times last night because I also paired this with the Reaver Cleaver as well. So any damage that you would do would also count to get you treasures too, which then you can use to use the throw ability again and again and again. That is only combat damage, but that just fuels the throw mechanic. Also with that, you want to consider maybe some enchantments there to get the cost of the actual throw mechanic down. There are a couple of cards that can do this well for you. Specifically, I am personally using something like Training Grounds. Training Grounds makes activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate, which means that for 1 mana you would then be able to unattach an equipment and just throw it at someone for its mana value, which I think with Captain America is really, really good. One meme inclusion you may want to consider is Lightning Greaves. But the fun thing with Lightning Greaves is that you can throw it for the mana value. Say it was 1 mana value decreased by Training Grounds. You can throw it. You can then re-equip it for free, throw it again, re-equip it for free, throw it again, doing 2 damage per mana that you have on the field. So say if you had 7 mana and you had Twin Flame Tyrant on the field, all of a sudden you're doing 24 damage because you use that 7 mana to throw these Lightning Greaves multiple times. And unless somebody has an answer to that, which, because it's an activated ability, I don't think they'd be able to stop you. So that's a really fun meme thing you could do if you really wanted to. Other than that, definitely consider things, like I said, Argentum Armor is just a +6/+6. Excalibur Sword of Eden is fantastic for this. It is a 12 mana cost, so it's going to be doing 12 damage, but it's only a 2 equip cost for a legendary creature. And of course, that the Excalibur Sword of Eden price to get it onto the field is going to be brought down by historic permanents that you have on the field. So that's any other legendaries, artifacts, or sagas that you have on the field are going to be decreasing that cost. So I feel like that's a must-buy if you've got that. Fortunately, I managed to pick one of those up for my winter deck. I picked up like a Chinese copy for my winter deck back when it was around, like, I think I got it for like £2.50 because it was a foreign language copy. I got really lucky. At the moment, I think it's sitting at about like €10, so like $10 to $15 online. So that probably will only go up a little bit. So if you can get Excalibur Sword of Eden, definitely get that. The other thing you might want to look at as well is the new Leyline Axe. Leyline Axe, if you can get that down on the field, because it is a Leyline card, if you have that in your opening hand, you'll be able to have that on the field from the get-go. And so you'll have something that you can equip to Captain America when he comes out on turn 3 and start doing that throw damage straight away. And of course, your catch makes you equip it for free too. Definitely consider something like Helm of the Host, not just for copying Captain America, but if you have Twin Flame Tyrant down on the field and you have Helm of the Host, you can equip Helm of the Host to Twin Flame Tyrant, make a copy of Twin Flame Tyrant, and then all of a sudden you have like quadruple damage going out on the field. And of course, because Helm of the Host is as an artifact card, I think it's a 5 equip cost. It's a little bit pricey to get down, but if you've got yourself some artifact tutors out on the field anyway, and you manage to run into it, say you have something like Stoneforge Mystic, I feel like Stoneforge Mystic is a necessary card for this deck. It's a little pricey at about 13 to 15 pounds at the moment, about like $17, something like that. I think right now the cheapest I've seen it is around $17. Stoneforge Mystic is a 2 mana cost 1/2, but you can tap Stoneforge Mystic for 2 mana and put an equipment card from your hand onto the battlefield. So that counts for everything. That counts for something like your Excalibur, which is a 12 mana cost. You can get that on for 2 mana. You can use that for your Argentum armor, for your +6/+6. You can use that for anything, which is really, really cool. Some other notable artifact cards that you may want to run Sword of Vengeance. It is a 3 mana cost, 3 to equip, but it gives creature +2/+0 and gives them first strike, vigilance, trample, and haste, because you definitely want to go in a Voltron direction for Captain America here. So having these really impactful artifact cards is going to be incredibly helpful. Caldra Complete would be really helpful too. That is a 7 mana cost living weapon with Indestructible. You can equip a creature, it gets +5/+5. It gives first strike, trample, Indestructible, haste, and whenever this creature deals damage to a creature, you exile that creature as well. So if you want to break through, not only is it going to do 7 damage a piece anytime that you use the throw mechanic, but it's really going to get you through anybody's lines of defense, because they're not going to want their creatures exiled. They'll just have to eat that damage, and that's what, 11 damage if you're sending that at someone, which is really cool. The thing that I really like about Captain America so far is that it doesn't take much to make Captain America a really effective attacker. If you're using something like Caldra Complete, he becomes a very big threat on the battlefield. And so the only thing you really have to worry about is making sure that you have that protection, which is where something like Mithril Coat and Swiftfoot Boots comes in. Mithril Coat has Flash and Indestructible, 3 mana only, and you attach it to the target legendary you control when you flash it in, and it gives them Indestructible. So if you want to get yourself like Hexproof down, make sure you have Swiftfoot Boots and Mithril Coat on to give Captain America some protection in that instance. A little bit harder to get a hold of, but they're definitely something that you will want to pick up for that protection, as well as any protection spells that you can throw in there. So Dawn's Truce, for instance, or there's Divine Resilience from the new Foundation set, which if you use that card, you can give any one particular target Indestructible. So, and that's 1 mana cost to give Captain America Indestructible, or you can kick it for an additional 3 mana, 2 colorless and a white to give all of your permanents Indestructible. Very, very helpful card to have, and it's very easy to get from the new Foundation set. Planeswalker-wise, definitely consider picking up some kind of Nahiri Planeswalker to pair with the Captain America here, because they all have some pretty good artifact interaction. Personally, I got Nahiri the Lithomancer. It's a 5 mana card, 3 colorless, 2 white mana, but it's under $1, so it's pretty easy just to slip into the deck. You can +2 on it to create a 1/1 white core soldier creature token and then attach an equipment that you control to it. Not amazing, but really we're going to be ticking that up because we want to use the other abilities here, which for -2 you can put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield, which is super powerful in this if your cards do get destroyed somehow. Not going to help you if they go into exile, obviously, but it's going to allow you to get your equipment cards back from the graveyard. And then if you can get to -10 on Nahiri the Lithomancer, you can create a colorless equipment artifact token named Stoneforge Blade. It's indestructible, and when you equip it, you get +5/+5, and it has double strike, and it doesn't cost anything to equip. So incredibly powerful on Captain America. If you want to reduce the cost of your equipment, consider cards like Danitha Capuchin Paragon. That lets you reduce the equipment by 1. And you can get some cool interaction from a card like Pure Steel Paladin, which is 2 mana, but allows you to equip equipment for 0 as long as you have 3 or more artifacts on the field. If you do want to cheat some more equipment cards onto the field, the other Danitha is actually really, really helpful. 5 mana cost, 4 colorless, 1 white. Danitha Benalia's Hope has first strike, vigilance, and lifelink, and is a 4/4. But if you play her onto the field, you can put an equipment card from your hand or graveyard directly onto Danitha attached to it. And even if you do that, you can play something like Excalibur for free, put it onto Danifer, and then when you go to combat, equip it directly onto Captain America to give Captain America that bonus. But you may just want to keep it on Danifer with her First Strike, Vigilance, and Lifelink. Very helpful card. Another cheap creature card I found helpful in this deck has been Reav Master Smith, and that is a 2-mana cost red-white 2/2, but its ability is whenever a creature you control that's enchanted or equipped attacks, that creature gains double strike until the end of turn. Definitely helpful in any Voltron deck, but especially so here when a bunch of your attackers could potentially have equipment attached. Because that's the other thing that you want to think about with Captain America. You don't necessarily have to put all your equipment on the captain himself. Any of these powerful cards, if you can cheat them into combat, you're going to be able to use those on your other permanents and still potentially attach them to Captain America afterwards to then throw at a reduced price. You also get Captain America's Aid, which is a reprinted alt version of Sigarda's Aid. It is a 1-mana white card enchantment, and it lets you cast aura and equipment spells as though they had flash. Super helpful if you're building a commander deck around the captain. And whenever your equipment you control enters, you may attach it to a target creature you control. So it just completely gets rid of equip costs. It's very, very helpful. Next up is Flawless Maneuver for a 3-mana, 1 white and 2 colorless. It's an instant, but if you control a commander, you can cast it without paying its mana cost. But creatures you control gain indestructible to the end of turn. Very helpful if you want to avoid a board wipe, for instance. For 3 mana, 1 colorless, 2 white, there's In the Trenches, which I'm a little bit confused about the inclusion of this one, because in my experience it hasn't been too helpful. It just gives creatures you control +1/+1, and for 6 mana you can exile target non-land permanent that you don't control until this enchantment leaves the battlefield. Activate only as a sorcery and only once, so you only get to activate it once for as long as it's out there. I don't see this being that helpful in a deck unless you really want to get something out of the way. But even if that's the case, this would only really be effective possibly early game, but I really don't see how this helps all that much. I do love the artwork though, which goes back to, I'm assuming this is the World War II where Cap was fighting, so the artwork's really cool on this, but I just don't see it as being that effective. If I was going to cut a card from the deck, it would likely be In the Trenches. You also get the Shield of War and Peace, which is the main equipment card for Cap. 3-mana cost. Obviously, it is a reskin of Sword of War and Peace, but it gives +2/+2 and gives protection from red and white, which is super helpful. So whenever your equipped creature deals combat damage with the Shield of War and Peace, if it's equipped, that Shield of War and Peace deals damage to the player equal to the number of cards that are in their hand. And you also gain life from each card in your own hand, which is super, super helpful. And of course, Cap Shield being in the deck is some very appropriate flavor, considering you can throw this and bounce it off up to 3 targets. That's kind of really cool. And another reason that I wanted to pick this up. It looks like I got a bonus card too, which is this Masterwork of Ingenuity. You have Baby Groot there, which is fantastic. Look at that. 1 mana cost. I've not seen this before. You may have this equipment enter as a copy of any equipment on the battlefield. That's so funny because I actually picked this exact card up. Not this one, but the Masterwork of Ingenuity. I actually bought this for the deck that I've built for Captain America. So it's really cool to actually have a foil version of that. I didn't even realize that you could get bonus cards in Secret Lairs. That's really cool. That's kind of awesome. How much is this worth comparatively? God damn. I will say, though, this seems to be a little bit dinged up. Like, it has, like... It looks like it has a slight... I don't know if you can pick it up on the camera, but, like... It has a slight crease right there. Like it's been impacted by something. Like somebody's nail has been stuck in it or something like that. I don't know if you can see it right there. So quality control seems to be a bit weird for these Secret Lairs as well, because this card is technically damaged. I mean, I'm going to be using it in the deck anyway, so it doesn't really matter, but that definitely impacts the collectability of this in the cost. But considering it's a bonus card, I don't really care all that much. But so yeah, I'm not amazed at the quality control considering the ding in this card. Apparently this card can be worth anything between 25 to 40 euro right now, which is insane to me. But considering that I've received it damaged, that would definitely bring the value of the card down, which is kind of upsetting. But the fact that it's a bonus card anyway, just as, you know, and it's going into my deck no matter what, and I'm going to be keeping it, it doesn't really matter all that much to me. But if I was to resell it, that's definitely going to impact the value of the card, which is a little bit disappointing. But overall, really, really cool card. So that brings us to the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. Please let me know down in the comments if you picked up any of the Secret Lair cross Marvel sets. What was your experience like? Did you end up waiting in that queue for hours and hours and hours? Did you manage to be one of the lucky few who got your hands on these? Tell me all about that. I would love to know. Let me know which one of these cards is your favorite too. Which one of the sets is your favorite? Did you go for Storm, Iron Man, Black Panther, Wolverine, Captain America? Let me know in the comments. Like this video if you liked it. And of course, make sure you sub to the channel, and I will see you on the next video. Bye for now.